Krishna Babuji, how are you? You're on mute, Prabhu.
Yeah, good, Prabhuji.
Oh, right. So you're having some post-treatment going on? Post-operation?
That's finished.
All finished now? Okay. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay, Prabhuji. Recording slowly.
Mm-hmm. Jai. Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Vash Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Okay, so we start.
Prabhuji, I may go a bit early, 5-10 minutes earlier, because we have a Sankirtan in the afternoon.
Oh, yes. The Harinam has started.
When Sankirtan they will do only. Utara, okay?
That's fine. No problem.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Yashodanandana Brajajanaram Yashodanandana Brajajanaram Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radha Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radha Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gornitai Jaya Goranitai Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शील प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा गिरिधारी भगवान की जय श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्र मैया की जय श्री श्री गौर निताई की जय निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल all glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga all glories to Srila Prabhupada all glories to Srila Gurudev Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Prayeshva Bhadreshu Yam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Bhavati Srimad Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnava Yasain Parahamsyam Ekam Amalam Jnanat Param Tattva Bhakti Sahitam Saishkarmyamavishkritam Shrimad Bhagavatam Ji Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya Yatodhayanidanas Charte Vabhigya Swara Tene Brahmataya Ye jo Yatra Trisardho Dhamna Satyam Dharma Projita Kaitavottama Nirmat Saranam Vetam Vastavam Vastu Shiva Tapatrayam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Imva Parayam Sadhyo Vritti Avarutyate Sushruti Tachana Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sachi Mata ji, you're 90 degrees. That's better. Hare Krishna, welcome everybody to our session today. So we were on text 11, is it, last time?
Yes.
Yes.
Did we finish or we were discussing on that? I know we had noted a few
We are
points.
discussing.
We're just, I think, discussing on that. Yeah, we just started. So this is one of the, as I said, 10 and 11 are together.
Yeah.
And it is one of the very famous, important and popular verses in Bhagavatam, specifically in Canto 1. So maybe let's recite the verse again. It'll be nice.
Now you're
Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo yasmi lokamapaddavatyapi namani anantasya yashvankitani
Srinanti Shargo Jana.
Would somebody like to read?
On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, form and pastime, etc. of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed towards bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literature, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest.
Shrinvanti, Gayanti, Ghnanti.
Sadhava.
Sadhava.
So sadhavas, they do three things.
Srinanti.
If somebody is a sadhu, then he is recognized by these three things. Shrinvanti, Gayanti, and Grinanti.
Grinanti.
In fact, you can only do Shrinvanti and Gayanti if you first do Grinanti. First, you have to accept, to surrender. If you don't accept that Krishna is a Supreme Lord, then there's no way you can do Gayanti and you will do Shravanti. So they go hand in hand. So these are the characteristics. Bhagavatam, they give us these characteristics of a devotee, sadhu, sadhava. So last verse, anybody remembers? What did Vyasadeva say? Or rather, Shukadeva Goswami is describing in the last verse, what did he say? That those words which do not describe what?
The glories of the Lord.
Glories of the Lord. Correct.
The Vaisham Tirth.
Yeah. So if they do not describe glory, then what is it? What is he describing it to?
Vaisham Tirth.
Next, pilgrimage of crows.
Pilgrimage of crows. And if you see the world around us today, you step out of the house. Thankfully, we're living in Vaikuntha houses. Lord is there. As soon as you step out of your house, then we step onto the pilgrimage places. But these pilgrimage places are of pilgrimage of crows. People think that they are pilgrimages. Okay.
Yeah.
You Friday, you go out to all these pubs and they will think, you talk to them, they'll think they're in pilgrimage. What they are doing. So we are surrounded by people, atmosphere, conditions that are completely against glorification. They're not even aware of the glorification of the Supreme Lord. So this is common. Number 10. But number 11, this is what is the solution. So first, in Bhagavatam, you will see, whether it is Shukadeva Goswami or Vyasadeva or Maitreya Muni, they first talk about, they introduce by talking about the problems, miseries, current and future. In fact, this whole chapter started how? By Vyasadeva foreseeing the miseries, right? Why did these 88,000 sages headed by Shaunaka Muni, Rishi, why did they come to Naimisharanya? Because they could foresee what? Foresee miseries, foresee problems, right? So they are visionaries, they can foresee. Because they are connected to the Lord, they have the vision. And we'll talk about vision a little bit in this chapter as we go ahead. Vision is very important. So a person who's connected, a devotee who's connected to the Lord, he has vision. And because he has got vision, he can see ahead and understand the miserable conditions that people in general will face. And because they are compassionate, they want to mitigate that misery. That is the hallmark of a sadhu. So first they say that there is misery, there is a problem. So when somebody says there's a problem, you become attentive, right? Supposing we go to the doctor and we go for a checkup, okay, and the doctor checks and says, oh, everything is good, no problem. We go away. Will we hear much about the details? Like he might say, your hemoglobin count is so much and your this is so much and your that is so much, but you're okay. Will we be attentively listening to all the details and noting down? Yes or no?
No.
No.
No. Why? It's all good.
Because all good.
All
But if the doctor says, we tested your blood and there is a big problem. He didn't say, what is the problem? He said, there is a problem. What will happen to you?
Listen carefully.
You'll sit down first. Wipe your sweat. You'll sit down, right? And then, even if you don't understand, you will listen to each and every word that the doctor is going to tell you. True or no?
Yes.
Why? Because the doctor is has said that there is a problem. And you know, because the doctor has said there is a problem, only he can give you the solution to the problem. See, you are not going to listen to the doctor to say a list of problems. That is not your goal. But because he has said problems, you will be attentively hearing the solution. Same principle is used in Bhagavatam. Why? Because we're not attentive. If Vyasadeva would have said, do this, Sukadeva Goswami said, do this, Sutta Goswami said, do this, you think we would hear? We would not take it seriously. But that's why they say, there's a problem, there's a misery. And then you think, oh, yes, that's right. That's why in chapter 1 itself, 1:10, Prayana Alpa Ayusha Sabhya, Kalavasmin Yuge Jana, Manda Sumanda Matayo, Manda Bhagya Upatrita. He gives us all those qualities and says, basically, you people are gone. There is no hope for you. You are in deep trouble. So we become attentive from chapter 1 itself. Okay, I understand. I can feel, I can experience these problems around me. So what is the solution? And then the whole Bhagavatam is a solution. So text 10 is the problem, that if you do this, it is pilgrimage of crows. So the solution is what? Now we become attentive and we listen to text 11. And here he says, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental name, fame, form, pastimes, what will that do? And last time I think we marked it, right? I think I requested everybody to underline. So this is directed towards bringing a revolution in the impious lives of the world's misdirected civilization. Actually, we should be doing a full, what should I say, like an essay on this, just one line. Because we have to really go deep into this line. Otherwise, we'll not appreciate the greatness of Prabhupada, how he has brought it. So this literature or this hearing of Bhagavatam is not just to solve my problem or to solve my own personal miseries. And anyway, I don't have the ability to solve my own miseries because it is not in my control. And the solution also is there, but I'm not in line. I'm not geared up for the solution. So I understand it. It's like sometimes we know it is good for us, but are we able to do it? People are not able to do it. Everybody knows smoking is not good for them. Doesn't matter whether you are a good person or a bad person. But still people are impelled to do it. Why? So same thing, we know it is good, but we are not able to do it. So this literature, it is not just for our personal benefit. It is for a major cause. It is for a huge cause. And what is that cause? It is being mentioned here. It is for bringing about a revolution.
Mm.
Now, if I have to change myself, do I need to become a revolutionary?
No.
No. I just do it. Finish. Over. I mean, it will take me effort and a lot of determination. That's different. But here it is talking about a revolution. Revolution means what? A sudden transformation.
The whole mankind.
Yeah, it's like a huge change. It's not a small change. It's a huge. That's why a small change is called a change. But a huge change is a transformation.
Mm.
Right? People say if you're wearing a normal pant and you start wearing jeans pants, it's a change. But suddenly when you're wearing pants and you start wearing dhoti, it's a transformation, right? I'm giving you crude examples, but so this revolution, when Prabhupada says the word revolution, it is about transformation. Of what?
Heart.
Sorry, Mataji?
Of the heart.
Of the heart, absolutely. But not just of one heart, of countless hearts. In the impious lives of the world's misdirected civilization. Means what? Everybody is leading an impious life in today's world. Why? Because the whole civilization is misdirected. If the civilization is misdirected, then what is the chance of somebody attaining the goal of life? It's like a misdirection, no? Like you want to go to the airport, but you're going towards north. You should be going south to Mangri. You're going towards North Shore. It's misdirected. You will never reach the airport. However fast you drive, however best car you've got, you will never reach there. In fact, you will only go far and far from it. There is no hope of reaching close by. So this misdirected word is very important to let us know that however hard we try on our own and however hard we depend on other resources apart from Krishna, we will never achieve the desired goal. Never. Whether it is material or whether it is spiritual, it is misdirected. Nothing is going to happen. And because everything is misdirected, by default, our lives become impious. It has to. So this is very important. Revolution, impious lives, and misdirected civilization. I mean, I'm just breaking it up into three, but we could talk more. So these three words are very, very, very important. So Bhagavatam is for a revolution. It is not just to read and feel good. It is not just to read and memorize some shlokas. Bhagavatam is a revolution. And that revolution has to first come in our own life. And once it comes into our own life, our whole life transforms. Others can feel it, right? For example, when we talk about revolution, let's take an example, French Revolution. Those of you who are into history or who liked history. Revolution means what? The entire administration, the king, the monarch, he is overthrown, right? Those from Fiji know, Fiji coup. Revolution. What do you mean by that? The existing administration is thrown off. Okay, whether it's a peaceful coup or a bloody coup, whatever it is thrown off. And the new person who has done has created that revolution, he takes power. Now, is the common man affected by that or no? Who has nothing to do with the revolution personally, like on a personal level. They happen to be in the country. And the people who are creating the revolution, they have taken power. But will the common man in that country be affected by the revolution or no?
Yes.
Not sure.
Yes, it will be.
Everybody will be.
Because
Well,
things have changed now. In the changed circumstances, they have to face a new situation.
Can they feel the change? Can they see the change? Like, can they perceive that change?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Normally they cannot see it immediately, but in time they can.
Yes. So yeah. So when I mean perceive, meaning they know that there is somebody else in power, like in the parliament or whatever, but they have also brought with them a lot of reforms, lot of changes in the law, right? See, if the law is the same, okay, if the administration is the same, then why will they need to change the king or the ruler? They are not happy with the system. Like, we are not talking about today's common politics where one prime minister resigns and another takes over, but the system is the same. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a real revolution where people are fed up. The revolution is they are fed up of the system and they take power to completely dismantle the old system and bring a new system.
Yeah, it will affect everybody.
Correct.
It will
So a person, a common man who does not even have relation to the revolution directly, he will also feel the change. Why? Because the whole system has changed. Right. I mean, again, it's a simple thing. If we say, if we come to a situation where the government has taken some drastic steps, then it's almost like it may not be a revolution, but it's a major change. No? So a common man gets affected. So similarly, this Bhagavatam, when we bring Bhagavatam into our life, it creates a revolution. And when our life, if there is a revolution in our life, don't you think the people around us will perceive that change, just like common people in a country perceive that change?
Yes.
Yes.
We don't have to say, we don't have to, shout loudly and say, I'm following Bhagavatam. No, we just quietly follow Bhagavatam to the best of our ability, sincerely. But people around us, including our family members, our relatives, our friends, our workers, co-workers, they will feel what? They will not feel that you have changed. They will feel the revolution within you. And that is the power of Bhagavatam. And that revolution is for what? For creating the revolution in the impious life of the misdirected civilization. So with the revolution, people see that revolution is for good. Like sometimes, revolution can also be for bad. Sometimes this person was good, suddenly now he's started smoking and drinking. That's also a revolution in some form. But nobody is interested in that. They don't even want to know you after they see that. But this Bhagavatam revolution is so powerful and potent that others can perceive that goodness in you because you're connected to transcendence more closely. And as a result of that, that revolution starts touching their life also. Then it depends on how much they accept it. If they accept that revolution, it will transform them as well. So this preaching is nothing major. Preaching is all about letting the Bhagavatam revolution influence our own lives and taking that revolution and distributing it to others. That's all. That is all that is about preaching. We follow, and seeing us follow, others feel inspired. So it is our endeavor to follow, and the Lord's mercy, Prabhupada's and Guru's mercy, that actually inspires them, not us. We have to just sincerely follow. So this verse is very important from that perspective, to understand that this is a revolution. It is not a small change. So I would suggest all of us put a little bit more thought into this line. I'm sure there'll be a lot more realizations coming as you read this verse. Just read the verse purport a little bit more deeply. Take some notes. Cross-refer to other scriptural references, Prabhupada quotes, because there is a lot of lectures in which Prabhupada has quoted this particular sentence, revolution in the impious life of misdirected civilization. So it'll be nice to have a discussion amongst us of all that you have found related to this particular verse or this particular sentence. And then let's share our notes. So maybe a homework. Okay, a lot of things in this purport. I think we touched upon the fact that the first part, I think, was done, where great thinkers, they pick up the best even from the worst, which is the quality of a devotee. The second part, Prabhupada says in the same paragraph, second part, he says a saint is far above the level of an ordinary man. Why? He is always absorbed in glorifying the Supreme Lord, because by broadcasting the holy name and fame of the Supreme Lord, the polluted atmosphere of the world will change. And as a result of propagating the transcendental literatures like Bhagavatam, people will become sane in their transactions. What a beautiful word. This is also worth underlining. People will become sane in their understanding. Just meditate on this. Prabhupada is not saying people will become sadhus. People will become sane means, what is he trying to say? Currently people are insane.
Mad.
Now, when you're, can you imagine? So we are dealing with insane people and we expect good results. Whose fault is it? Right? So people around us today, and it is not just the people's fault. It is the atmosphere. It is a completely insane atmosphere. So Prabhupada is saying, by giving them the holy name, by giving them Bhagavatam, the people at least will become sane. Means they will become human beings. Right now, they are not human beings. They look like human beings, but they are not human beings. But by getting Bhagavatam, they will become sane. They'll become a human being. And in that transactions means what? They will behave like human beings with each other. Otherwise, we see how one insane person is behaving with another insane person. What do you expect? Not very saintly behavior. Yes, please.
Conflicts.
Conflicts. Yeah. What else? What else happens? Insane person interacting with another insane person.
Well,
Quarrel. All the qualities of Kali Yuga.
yes.
Yeah, because people are insane. So don't you think, if Prabhupada has said that this is very important to keep us sane, we take it up more seriously and we try and spread this message more seriously? Is it not our duty to at least follow and help Prabhupada in the best way that we can?
Yes.
So
Yes.
Prabhupada is saying they will become sane in their transactions. What a wonderful line.
Also, Prabhuji,
Yes,
on this point, you'll be surprised. I mean, everywhere it is a big word now. Human rights. Human rights. So that means we are leading animal lives. What's the difference? We are living animal life. That's why some people are doing that, and they want a human standard. That is nothing what you're talking about. A human person who is behaving human level, it is not to be told you are not human right is needed. But when we are below that, it is to be reminded human rights.
Yeah.
Because
True. You can take it the other way also, because people are, they are not behaving humanly. They are saying give us human rights, but they are just trying to tell that we are behaving like animals. Let us keep behaving like animals. Don't interfere. Isn't it? I mean, if you think about it, when they say rights means what? I'm doing something.
Yes.
And you are pointing out I'm doing something wrong, or you are criticizing me. They are saying you stop. So means what? That when we go to do something good to somebody, what will be the first reaction? When you're giving them good things, which you know is really good, what is the first reaction? Natural reaction that is likely to come.
Yeah.
Not always.
Opposition. Oppose.
Opposition.
I'm okay.
opposition.
Get
Yes.
lost.
Yes, Mataji? Malti Mataji?
We'll
I'm
say,
okay.
we'll say get lost.
Yes. Right. So definitely there will be opposition. They will not like it. Why? Because we are intruding into their animal rights. People are now raising the flag and saying human rights, animal rights. The same people who are saying animal rights, we know what they do later on. how many of them are vegetarians? Now, slowly, thankfully, a lot of them are converting. So it is good actually in one way. One of my school friends, she's with her family in the US, and she contacted me last year knowing that I'm following ISKCON, and she wanted to know about veganism and what is our perception of veganism. So I said, oh my God, it's a very sensitive topic now, because we are not vegans, although we are not against veganism. It is in line with our in principle thought. So they, so she was talking along those lines, and their whole motive is that don't kill animals, don't take anything from animals, including milk, and keep them safe. And then I said, well, what about human rights? You're talking about animal rights, right? That's good. But what about human rights? Said, yeah, that's also important, but nobody does this, so we are doing this. So it is, all these things are going on in the name of doing good. So somebody is doing for animals, somebody doing for human beings. So it's all haphazard, and they are all ultimately connected to some kind of self-motivation. It is only followers of Bhagavatam, they are completely non-motivated, doing just because it is good, because it is being instructed by the Lord. And anything that we do as instruction by the Lord will automatically be good for everybody, not just one person. And here Prabhupada gives a nice example of China. So yeah, he just gives the example of how godless civilization people, whether it is a person or whether it is a country, they are constantly fighting with each other because they're insane. And then further down, Prabhupada writes that but due to the age of quarrel Kali, which we have discussed, there is always a chance of quarrel on a slight provocation. This is not due to the issue in question, but to the polluted atmosphere of this age. Systematically, there is a propaganda by a section of people to stop glorification of the name and fame of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, there is a need for disseminating the message of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. And the next line is very important, worth underlining again. It is the duty of every responsible Indian to broadcast the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the world, to do all the supermost good, as well as to bring about the desired peace in the world. Bharat bhumite hoilo manushya janmajar, janma sarthaka kori karo paro upakar. So Prabhupada is not writing something on his own. He is just repeating Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction or message. I mean, again, as we know, the word Indian, we don't have to take literally. It means anybody born in that subcontinent. And if you go back to the previous yuga, the whole planet was one. So in one level, in one understanding, you can think that any human being who has taken birth on this planet Earth has got that responsibility. So it is not about, oh, I was not born in India, it's not for me. You shouldn't think like that. And then Prabhupada gives another issue, another problem. Because India has failed in her duty by neglecting this responsible work, there is so much quarrel and trouble all over the world. Can you imagine this? Prabhupada is saying, India, or people who are born in that sacred land, they are indirectly responsible for the problems of the world today. Can you imagine? How many people will accept that statement? And I didn't do anything. It's not my problem. People are fighting and dying and killing each other. But see the mood of Prabhupada. He's saying this is what should have been our duty. But because we are not able to do our duty properly, not only we, the whole world is suffering. Because we didn't do our duty. It is a duty. It is not an option or a choice. A duty is not a choice. You have to do it. You can choose not to do it, But if you choose not to do it, there is a consequence. And Prabhupada is pointing out to the consequence. So whatever has happened, we can't undo, but at least we can ensure that we are able to do our duty more diligently in future, having received this Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam, because you can imagine, first he talks about it as a revolution, and then he says how because of not connecting and spreading Bhagavatam, the problems in the world have arose. And Bhagavatam, as we know, in the future cantos, I think it's in Canto 2, there is the description of the 10 different subject matters. So everybody knows there are 10 subject matters of Bhagavatam.
Yes.
Sarga, Visarga, and like that.
Yeah.
And each canto of Bhagavatam is connected to one of those topics. So we should also have a little diagram for that. The 10 topics of Bhagavatam and the corresponding cantos, and why that canto is connected to that particular characteristic or the symptom of that Bhagavatam topic. So another homework. Let's do that exercise. So there are 10 topics, just like in Bhagavad Gita. How many topics are there? In the introduction, Prabhupada says there are, Bhagavad Gita has got five. Correct, 5 topics. Srimad Bhagavatam has got 10 topics. So you have to find out the names of the 10 topics
And corresponding
cantos. Yes. And the verse in Srimad Bhagavatam that talks about those 10 qualities.
Yeah.
You have to quote the verse. Okay. That's another homework.
Sorry, Prabhu, what's the first homework? First one.
First one. Oh, yes, Mataji joined later on. So we were doing this discussion on this particular verse, and last week also, or last time we were reading. So that line in this translation where Prabhupada says that the transcendental words directed towards bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Just that particular sentence by Prabhupada has been quoted by Prabhupada in many, many different classes and by many senior devotees as well. And is a very important sentence for us to meditate on with respect to the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we discussed that let us do some research on that and put together, it's like a practical application question, like an essay, you could say.
Yeah.
Right? If we deal with it as an essay, not very long, but maybe a page or so. So put together your thoughts, your ideas in terms of how Srimad Bhagavatam is creating a revolution in the life of misdirected, impious lives of misdirected civilization. How is it doing currently?
Okay.
As per your perception. You can give Shastric evidences also, but essentially it's about your perception. It's a practical application question. So that is 1, and 2 is what we just discussed. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
Right. So that is that. And then in the end of that particular paragraph, Prabhupada concludes. He concludes by saying, after all, it is a technical science of spiritual values, and thus we are concerned with the techniques and not with the language. Why is Prabhupada saying that? Because in the translation it is said that even though this may be imperfectly composed, what is imperfectly composed? Bhagavatam. Although it is not imperfect, it is by the Supreme Lord. But even if there are some so-called imperfections in terms of grammar or whatever, language, whatever it may be, from a grammatical perspective. So to that counter argument, Prabhupada is saying that ultimately it is a technical science of spiritual values. So Bhagavatam is teaching us the technique. through the lives and examples of different devotees who are following that technique and who have followed the technique in the past and they've got success. And not the language, not the grammatical content. So focus on the technique, not on the language.
Language, yeah.
Yes. And then in the next paragraph, Prabhupada writes that there are so many unwanted literatures full of materialistic ideas of sense gratification. And we see that all over. Before it used to be magazines, now it comes into our mobile phones in our hands. All the more intrusive. In many countries, there are bodies appointed by the state to detect and censor obscene literature. This means that neither the government nor the responsible leaders of public want such literature. Yet, it is in the marketplace because people want it for sense gratification. Very important. Things that we know are not good, but somehow or the other there is a requirement. People, they say that they don't like it or they don't want it, it's not good. But when they are given the choice, they will use it or they will actually get involved in that activity. So here he's just saying that there are people generally like to read. They would like to know something out of the or normal, out of the ordinary. And all people today are doing is to fuel that desire to know something extraordinary and giving us all rubbish in the name of news. So here Prabhupada writes that people in general want to read. It's a natural instinct. So to read is a natural instinct. In fact, I remember my grandfather was an avid reader. He's a bookworm. And somehow or the other, I never had that quality of reading or being attracted to books. Like he used to read anything. You give him any book. As soon as, like some people love ice cream. They see ice cream and they want to, even if they're not hungry, they just want to eat. It's a natural instinct. So my grandfather was like this. If he sees a book, something happens inside, like he just wants to touch it, not touch it. He touch it, open the book and finish it. Not just read a few pages like what we do sometimes. I don't know how he got that, but that instinct was there. I've seen it myself. My mother has a little bit of that trait. And my sister also has it. So, but I don't. I'm the odd man out. So, so it is said here that people in general want to read. This is a natural instinct. But because their minds are polluted, they want such literatures. Under these circumstances, transcendental literature like Srimad Bhagavatam will not only diminish the activities of the corrupt mind of the people in general, but also it will supply food for their hankering after reading some interesting literature. What again a powerful sentence. So it will do two things. It will diminish their mind's corrupt activities. Mind is always thinking wrong things. So by reading Bhagavatam, the mind will settle down. They will not run in that direction. That's number one. And secondly, the natural hankering for something different, something new, something interesting will be met. So it will stop the mind from going somewhere else and meet its natural instinct as well. So that's the glory of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So there has to be a systematic propaganda for popularizing reading of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which will act like sugar candy for the jaundice-like condition of sense gratification. And then as Prabhupada concludes his purports with his punchline, he writes, when men have a taste for this literature, the other literatures which are catering poison to society will then automatically cease. So what Prabhupada is saying, don't have to ban anything. Just propagate Bhagavatam. Propagate the good thing. the bad thing will automatically go away. Problem is, what we are doing? We try to stop the bad things. We are telling people, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Instead of saying, don't do this, what we should be doing? Prabhupada never said, you stop eating meat, you stop this, you stop that, you stop worshipping demigod, you stop. Did he say that?
No.
Never. What did Prabhupada say? First thing, what did Prabhupada say? First thing is, he didn't even say anything. He did.
He gave prasadam and then prasadam.
First thing Prabhupada did. He didn't even say anything. He just shoved a gulab jamun down your mouth.
Mm.
Before you realize gulab jamun is inside your stomach. That's how Prabhupada started. So he pushed, he added things in the life of people. First through prasad. Second, first is prasad. Second is
Chanting the holy name of the Lord.
yes. Yes.
Harinam.
Harinam. Harinam. First prasad. Prasad, nobody will say no. You feed anybody prasad. You can give philosophy, people will say no. But if you take prasad for anybody, nobody will say no. That is a sure shot way of entering. Second, Harinam. Somehow or the other, some kirtan, holy name should enter their ears. Then third,
Read, hear from.
then you have to hear.
Hear
So
from
you see the
pure
process. See, the bhakti starts from hearing, right?
Yeah.
Before hearing, is there something else? Anything else? No.
No.
Hearing is basic. But in Kali Yuga, you can imagine, even to hear, you need to be qualified. You need to have some purification. So it is only the greatness of Prabhupada who realized that in Kali Yuga, people will not even be inclined to hear. So what to do? Don't preach? Don't give Bhagavatam? No, you must. But they are not willing to hear what to do. So he introduced two other steps below hearing. And we hear that from his Lilamrita. He not only introduced that, he found ISKCON, which is based on that principle. We meet people first. When people come to the temple, they take darshan. What is the first thing we ask them first time? They have not come for Sunday feast. They have just come for general darshan. And we happen to be in the temple. They have taken darshan. They are just moving around. We talk to them, introduce. What is the first thing that we ask them?
Charanamrita.
Have you taken prasad? We might not know if there's prasad or not. But at least we ask them there is prasad. Why? Because we know you go to the kitchen, there will be something. There will be something. No doubt. Any time of the day. So first is prasad. Then is Harinam. That's why Prabhupada started this Harinam. The whole movement ISKCON started through Harinam. Harinam and Prasadam. Then after Harinam and Prasadam started purifying people, they sat down and they heard. That's when the process started. So that's why Prabhupada is saying that here, it's only when they start hearing that the revolution starts affecting their life. So, but before that, there are these two steps. So he's saying that we just have to propagate Bhagavatam. All the other vices, the problems, the poison literature that are currently existing and influencing people in the wrong way, they will automatically cease. So it is wonderful. We just touched upon a few points, but do read. And in the next discussion, when we have about that sentence, we'll go through a bit more in detail. Okay, we'll move on to 12. Any other comments or questions on this? I know it was a bit extensive, but very important verse. Okay. Naishkarmyamapyuchuta bhava varjitam na shobhate jnanamalam niranjanam Kutaha punah shashvata bhadramishvare nacharpitam karma yada pila akaranam. Okay, translation.
Knowledge of self-realization, even though free from all material affinity, does not look well if devoid of a conceptions of the infallible God. What then is the use of fruitive activities which are naturally painful from the very beginning and transcend by nature if they are not utilized for the devotional service of the Lord?
Correct. Is this verse very similar to a verse we read in chapter 2? Anybody? Very similar verse in chapter 2. If anybody remembers. Where it is being said that anything not connected to the Supreme Lord.
14.
14?
No, not 14. Not 14. This is
So if they are not connected to the Supreme, or if they are not connected to devotional service, then it is all useless.
So the 8 to 10.
Yes, text 8. Yeah, of course, that section only, but specifically text 8. Dharma swanishthuta pamsa vishvaksena kathasuya not padaya didiratim shrama evahi kevalam. It is just going to be shram. You will work hard and it will just be hard work for you, nothing else, no result. Why? Because they do not provoke attraction for the message of Supreme Personality. Anything that you do, any occupational activity. So here also it is said that self-realization is good. Knowledge about self-realization is good. But if it is without the conception of the Supreme, so self-realization that does not have the component of the Supreme Lord, it is self only. It is useless. And then he says, what to talk about something that is actually only directed towards fruitive results. Any activity, it may be hard work, which is directed towards fruitive results, but it is ultimately useless if it is not connected to the devotional service of the Lord. And it is nicely said here that it is anyway painful. This hard work is always painful. So fruitive work, which people are engaged, is painful at the beginning, it's painful at the end also. But it can only be fruitful if it is connected to the Lord. It is painful at the beginning. Why? Any fruitive results or fruitive work that we do is painful at the beginning. Why?
Because we have to put a lot of endeavor for that.
Correct.
Physical
Correct.
endeavor for that.
So hard work is not very pleasing, right? Very comfortable. It means austerity. Correct. So at the beginning, you have to put, it is painful. But here Prabhupada says even at the end also it is painful. Why?
Because it is told that in 522 that it has got a beginning and end. So it will have a temporary happiness maybe, but immediately it will have a.
Correct. The verse from Bhagavad Gita. Absolutely. But still, I mean, when you're doing some fruitive activity to get some results, of course, sometimes you may not get the result, but let's say you have got the result. Why should it be painful if you have got the result? You should be happy.
That if I can remember the 522, it says Adyantavanto Konteo Noteshuramote Buddha, because it has got a beginning and it will happen like any material things. It will have a happiness for the temporary, and again it will go, and then it will bring unhappiness. So realized person never go for this material happiness.
Correct. Yes, information wise, you're right. But I'm just trying to think about it on a more practical context. Like if this has to be explained in a way that common people can understand, because we know it's temporary, but try and imagine this, that you've worked hard, or somebody has worked hard and they've achieved something material, something fruitive. They have made money, or they've got a job that was really very competitive, and they've got it. Now, if you tell them you've got this job, you worked so hard, you've got the result, but it is still painful, will they accept it? Because it is temporary. You tell that person it's temporary, it's still painful, will they accept it?
No.
Well, no one will accept it. Who are materially contaminated, they can't understand.
Yes. So it has to be made practical. So if you think about it on a practical level, let's take this example of this job that suddenly we talk about. He's got a job that maybe, I don't know, 50 people had applied for and only one position, and he got the job. So when he gets the job amongst 50 people, is it cause for happiness? Of course it is, right? For that person. Now imagine if he's got a job that was applied for by 50 people, that is in New Zealand, I'm saying. If it is India, maybe 1 lakh people applied for that job. And he got it. That means that job is what? Very responsible, very important, right? Very high paying or something like that. Now, when you enter into a high paying, high profile, high responsible job, it is very nice to see the perks on paper. But when you start working in that position, what happens?
Yeah, lot of issues there.
Headache.
Yes?
Lots
You
of
are
headache.
spontaneous.
Lots of headache. Lots of headache. Why lots of headache?
Because you
Constantly, you have to be on your alert.
Yes. Why you have to be on the alert? Because you are very responsible. You may even
Too
have
many
people under you.
responsibilities.
To keep your position and to keep your happiness, you need to do that.
Yeah, you need to. So what is going to happen? You are in that responsible position, and you are not the only person in the company. There are other people, right?
yeah.
You think if you are doing your work very well, very responsibility, and you are winning the hearts of the management, you think the other people in the company will be very happy that you are making success. You are very happy.
No,
You are going up the ladder. You think they'll be very happy?
no. There will be a constant stress.
Envious.
Yes. Who said? Ratnalakavadi said envious. So the first thing you are going to face is envy from your superior, from your
Colleagues.
same colleagues, and from your subordinates. True or no?
Yes.
Now, will that be very pleasurable?
No.
That's an example. It will be painful. And then anything that starts from envy is only more painful, because these envious people will only create problem for you every day. So that's why Prabhupada, these are all visionaries. The devotees are visionary. They say, yes, it's good. But if it is only something that you're enjoying based on your own endeavor, it will only bring you pain. But when the same job you take it on, keeping Krishna in the center, or keeping the aspect that, well, this is my duty, there will always be problems, but my goal is not just to do this job. My goal is something else, and this job is helping me fulfill that goal by money, position, whatever it is. Then the whole perspective changes. Then the problems don't go away, but your reaction, your attitude towards the problems, they change. Of course, you still have to do whatever you need to do, but it is not the all in all for you. So that's why anything before is painful, after also is painful. So like that, see, we have to take the words of Bhagavatam, we have to take the words of Prabhupada that he describes, and we have to ruminate and apply it practically. So if in Krishna says it is poison at the, it is poison at the beginning and eventually it will be temporary, we have to think of examples to illustrate that point. And if we think, Krishna will give us. And that will make our own understanding very strong, very, very rooted. And then it is easy for us to explain it to others. Because as Abbas Prabhu said, they are not ready. They are not in that level of purification. They will be eventually if they come, if they follow. But to get the message across, we need to be very, very practical, very grounded. And this Prabhupada gives us Bhagavatam in a very grounded way. That's why he gives so many examples. He explains in such easy language that all we need to do is just study scrutinizingly. The understanding will be given. So this is the hallmark of somebody who is. So we talked about, or it was explained how Bhagavatam is so important. And not only is Bhagavatam important, it is important for everybody to transfer this message of Bhagavatam to others. Correct? Now to transfer this message of Bhagavatam, what we have to do? We have to follow. And when we follow, there are 4 qualities that are important for anybody who is a follower of Bhagavatam and is willing to follow in the footsteps of Vyasadeva. So the next verse is also an important verse. It talks about 4 important qualities. Let's recite the verse, read the translation, and maybe you tell me what are the 4 qualities from the verse before we go into the detailed discussion. Atho mahabhaga bhavanamo Shuchi Shrava Satyarato Drita Vrataha Urukramasya Khilabandha Muktaye Samadhinanusmaratad Vicheshtitam. Translation.
O Vyasadeva, your vision is completely perfect. Your good fame is spotless. You are firm in vow and situated in truthfulness. And thus, you can think of the pastimes of the Lord in trance for the liberation of the people in general from all material bondage.
Wow, what a verse. Fantastic. So it is describing Vyasadeva. So here, Vyasadev's 4 qualities are being described. So what are the 4 qualities?
Determination, truthfulness.
Let's go one by one.
Oh.
From the start. What is the first one?
The vision is completely perfect.
Yes, first is vision is perfect. And what is the word? Word for word. What is the actual? So when we read the translation, we should go back to the shloka. Then we can relish Bhagavatam.
Amogadrik.
Yes. Amogadrik. Amogadrik means he is a seer. He can see ahead. He has a vision. He's a visionary. So that's the first quality. Amogadrik. Second?
Spotless. Spotless.
Spotless. What is the word in the shloka?
Suchi.
Shuchi.
Suchi.
Suchi also means pure.
Yeah.
But here in this context, Prabhupada, the better word is spotless.
Yeah.
Then the third one.
Firm in vow.
Firm in vow.
Sattarata.
Satyarat.
Yeah, Satyarataha, correct. Correct. And the third one, firm in vow and situated in truthfulness. Right. So actually, this Shrava and Satyarataha, they are all kind of together. So if you break that up, it is, so his vision is perfect, his good fame is spotless, he is firm in his vow, and is situated in truthfulness. 4 qualities. 4 qualities. Because he has got these 4 qualities, what happens? What is the result of having these 4 qualities?
Determination.
Detachment from material bondage.
Yes, so no, it's in the word, in the verse only, it is there. So we only did the first part of the verse.
We can think of pastime of the Lord and trance
Correct.
of the liberation for the people.
Correct. Unless we have got these 4 attributes, you cannot think of the pastimes of the Lord
Yes.
in What is that word in the
Material
translation?
Trance.
Material
Trance.
bondage, general
In
form.
trance means what?
Samadhi.
Samadhi. So see, samadhi is not easy. Oh, I'm thinking about Krishna all the time. It is not easy. That is our goal, but it is not easy. So it is not to think about Krishna only. You need to have all the four. Of course, you need to have all the four anyway. But you need to have all the four completely to be able to think about the pastimes of the Lord in trance, undisturbed. Like Nectar of Instruction says, right? Anybody remembers the 8th verse? Nectar of Instruction. Sayat Krishna Nama Charitadi Chitapya Vidya. No?
Yes.
Nama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtananu Smrityo Kramena Rasana Manasi Niyojya Tishthan Raje Tadanuragi Jananugami Kalam Nayed Ipiti Upadesha Saram. It is the Upadesha Saram. Upadesha Saram is what? To think about
Pastimes
Krishna.
and forms, yeah, about Krishna.
The Nama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtananu. Smrityo Kramena. You remember? Smriti. You have to constantly remember. 24 hours a day, Rupa Goswami says. How? It is not possible. Even 1 hour a day we can't remember. Or very difficult to remember. So why? Because of these four attributes. We have not developed these four attributes. And these are the four attributes in Vyasadeva. Because he had that, he could think about the pastimes of the Lord in trance, undisturbed. Why? Why he had to think about the Supreme Lord? So that he could think about the liberation of the people in general from material bondage, which is the whole purpose of composing this wonderful transcendental literature. So vision has to be perfect. Why vision has to be perfect? What do you mean by vision?
See things in their true perspective.
Yes, see things in their true perspective. With respect to what about things that happened in the past, happening in the present, and happening in the future? Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. So how can you see things in the right perspective?
By seeing it as Krishna's will. So seeing things in relation to Krishna.
Seeing
That is
things in
perfect
relation to
vision.
Krishna, yes. So what is this? How did Vyasadeva understand that people in general will have problems?
Yeah, from 110.
Yes. How did Vyasadeva see that? How did the 88,000 rishis see that? Like they didn't go to an astrologer, right? Some Vaikuntha astrologer and say, okay, you tell me what's going to happen in the next 100 years, next 10,000 years. They had a vision, and that vision is based on what? Is based on,
based on the information they have received in their heart from by Krishna.
yes, definitely the heart they've received from Krishna, and in disciplic succession.
Yeah.
The information and knowledge about
The
Krishna
spiritual
and his
master.
energies and the workings of this material world in parampara.
To the spiritual master.
Correct. See, the Kali Yuga is going to come every yuga, right? Every yuga cycle, Kali Yuga is coming. This cycle, Kali Yuga is going on. In the next cycle, will it come?
Yes.
Yes.
When Kali Yuga comes in the next cycle, will it be any better or the same? Like as miserable as normally Kali Yuga, or it will be better?
Same.
Same. Of course, because Kali Yuga means bad.
Mhm.
So it is not about being able to see like I can see some images, not like that, but it is having information. It is having the information, it is having that compassion based on the information we receive from parampara. Because of our connection to the parampara. Anybody who's connected to the parampara, his vision becomes broadened. He can see things in their right perspective, in the past, in the present, in the future. Prabhupada writes at the last of this particular purport. You can see that. So that's why they are called visionaries. Even in the material context, there's a difference between a manager and a leader who's a visionary. A leader can see, he can see 5 years, 10 years from now, how the company is going to grow, how it is going to be better. But a manager, he just does day-to-day job in the best possible way. He doesn't think what's going to happen in 5 years' time. So it is somebody who can think beyond, based on correct information that he has received. So first is his vision is completely perfect because he is connected to parampara. Second is his good fame is spotless. In the material world, everybody's fame has got some spot. But a devotee, owing to his connection to Krishna, is Ajat Shatru. He does not have any friends. He is non-envious. As a result of that, his fame is spotless. People cannot point fingers at a real, sincere, true devotee of the Lord. Why? Because they are firm in their vow. As devotees, everybody takes a vow, right? We take smaller vows. As devotees advance, they take bigger vows. Without taking a vow, without resolving to do something for the Lord out of love, we cannot go there. We cannot get there. No way. And situated in truthfulness. So this aspect is very, very important. And it is not that we have to develop these qualities. By connecting ourselves to Bhagavatam regularly, these qualities will manifest. And when these qualities manifest, automatically it will inspire us. It will just become natural for us to think about the Lord, about his creation, about his pastime, and try and see everything around us in relation to the Lord. It is said we should not try to see Krishna. Of course, in the temple, we see Krishna in his actual two-handed form. But when we go outside, we should not aspire to see suddenly, sometimes people say, oh, that cloud looks like Krishna. Okay, that's okay. That's fine. Nothing wrong in that. But don't just look up and think, oh, yesterday I saw Krishna. I want to see Krishna in the cloud again today. Some people do that. Then some havan is going on. Suddenly the fire comes like this and they say, oh, that's Krishna. So they are trying to push and see Krishna and convert something to Krishna because they can't imagine anything else. It is a very low level thinking, understanding. It is good, but it is so you're trying to push. But a person who's matured in devotional service, he tries and sees everything in relation to Krishna. The good things in relation to Krishna, the bad things in relation to Krishna. And if somebody tries to see Krishna like that through every situation in life, will they become Krishna conscious 24 hours a day eventually or not? You're seeing everything. Something bad happens, you think about Krishna. You don't think about Krishna's form. Be careful. When something bad happens, you're not seeing Krishna's form in that bad, but you are seeing Krishna's hand in that bad. Are you understanding the difference?
Yeah.
Yes.
Krishna's mercy is prasada. Krishna's
Now,
prasada.
whether you think of prasadam or not, that is a different level. But to understand that this is going on because Krishna wants it. I might not want it, but Krishna wants it. You see that? But a devotee who is even more advanced thinks that, okay, I don't want it, but Krishna wants it, so I want it. It's not easy. It's easy for me to say that, but it's not easy. But a person who can actually feel that, they are on that transcendental level. For them, good, bad doesn't affect. Sita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkheshu. For them, Sita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, it's all the same. Why? because they see everything in relation to Krishna. And that is something we have to aspire for. That keeps us some very, very equipoised. So these 4 elements or qualities is something worth meditating on. Just 4 points, actually 3 points in the purport. Prabhupada writes, as followers of Srila Vyasadeva, what are we? I mean, what are we supposed to do? So he writes somewhere in the middle of that first paragraph, Srila Vyasadeva or his representatives are qualified because they are rightly trained to see things in true perspective. That word training is very important. Everybody needs to be trained. Everybody has to go through training. Even in the material world, there is, in a material context, I mean, there is CPD, right? Continuous professional development means what? We have to constantly learn. Till the time we die, we have to learn. Right? So training is vital. So they are rightly trained to see things in the right perspective. The training will give them the vision. You understand that now? You see that link? So vision just suddenly doesn't come. It comes through the right training. And training means not speculative. It has to be correctly done, the right guidance in a bona fide way. So training will give the vision. That's number 1. Number 2, Srila Vyasadeva and his representatives are pure in thought due to their spiritual enlightenment. So when we are connected, what do you mean by enlightenment? Suddenly light comes.
Knowledge.
Yes. So you see things through the knowledge, the information Krishna gives us. We see everything around us. Right now we are perceiving things around us based on our conditioned thinking, right? What we feel is correct. What we feel, we understand. We are seeing the world around us with our thought. But when we get the transcendental knowledge, we see the same thing around us, not with only our thought. We can't say, no, I don't want to see from my thought. Of course, that will always be there. My thought will always be there. But now I'm not seeing it only from my perspective. I'm also seeing it from the Shastra perspective. And that is what is the most important part. So they see, they are pure in thought due to their spiritual enlightenment. Then, third, they are fixed in their vows due to their devotional service. And fourth, they are determined to deliver the fallen souls rotting in the material activities. So until the first 3 happen, the fourth will become very difficult. Because if we are not pure, if we are not practicing, if we don't have, what will you give? If we don't have $100, how can we give $100 to somebody? We need to have at least more than that, no? So if we do not have that level of purity, that level of connection to the Supreme Lord, to our Guru, what connectivity to Krishna or to the Lord can we spread to others? Simple. So when we have those 3 things, the fourth one automatically brings that determination that come what may, I may be criticized, I may be told to go off, still I will do my best and spread the message to the best of my ability. And to do that, we have got Prabhupada's generals, where we are going through a systematic training process whereby we are able to spread that message to others in an easy to understandable way and help Prabhupada in his big mission. So those, I mean, there are other things in the purport, but primarily those 4 aspects I thought is good to highlight, and just note somewhere in our diary that these are important elements ultimately required for spreading this message of Bhagavatam as a revolution for this old world. Okay, any comments on this so far? Okay. We are we're almost there. So just got 5-6 minutes. I think we'll maybe conclude here today. So I and Vishnupati will be traveling, as some of you are aware. We'll be away for the next 4 weeks. So we will not be able to participate in Ista Gosti, but I'm happy if somebody wants to take the lead and continue. Otherwise, we'll have to take a longish break and come back after 4 weeks to continue our Ista Gosti. I leave it amongst the group. If somebody wants to continue the discussion, it's good. Bhagavatam discussions always should go on. Otherwise, I'll definitely be able to join, Krishna willing, in about 5 weeks from now. But in the meantime, we've got those 2 homeworks which you have noted. Please work on them. They'll be very, very useful and helpful for you, whether you are actively preaching or not, doesn't matter. It will be. And on a different level, I also want to ask a bit of help from all of you individually. So the help is like this, that I have been given a bit of a service from not our NZ temple, but from a temple in India, to conduct an online Bhagavad Gita course. It's an full online course, but it's a proper course. Like, you need to have proper syllabus, properly teach Gita, and at the end there'll be some, not exam, but some question answer quiz kind of thing, and they'll be giving off certificates to all the participants. They'll be primarily new people, like brand new people. So I was just wanting your help in maybe formulating what are the topics. We just have, I think it is 12 weeks or 14 weeks, like that. So it's not that we've got the whole year or anything. So let's keep 12 weeks. So in 12 weeks, we have to talk about the overview of Bhagavad Gita. We can't go into details, obviously, but we just talk about the overview and we conclude. And the conclusion has to be such that either they are inspired to do another detailed course, like a seminar or a course after this basic course, or they are keen to join a local Namahat or Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vriksha, wherever they are. This is a Gujarat. So something like that. So if you can just put together some thoughts, supposing you were given this opportunity, how would you put it together in terms of the content, in terms of what are the important points, how would you introduce different chapters in a way that a common man, a person who doesn't have detailed knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, feels inspired to keep coming, because it's online. They may come for 1 or 2 classes and then they may drop. So to keep that enthusiasm right across 12 weeks is the most challenging part. So content-wise, there's no problem. There's a lot of content. But what is it that can keep them motivated throughout those 12 weeks? That is something I need some help on, because all of you are preaching actively. I'm sure you've got some thoughts and ways that you feel you can inspire and drive people to listen to this wonderful topics. So maybe if you want, you can take this as a third homework. It's not, it's up to you. So yeah, perhaps there's a lot of homework to keep us going for a few weeks. So we are back, I think there'll be the second week of June, whichever is the second Saturday, 5th, 12th. Yeah, so it will be 11th of June that I'll be back. But in the group, if somebody wants to take the lead, as I said, I'm more than happy to see that it continues. If I'm able to join in between while I'm away, I'll also try, but I don't want to commit at this stage because of the time difference. All good? Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Go Premanande.
It's a Krishna Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.